Welcome to Transform Your Relationships Live. I'm Laura Rubinstein here with the amazing Rhoberta Shaler. Dr. Rhoberta Shaler, how are you?
I am really well and really interested in the progress that we're making as we go through this COVID thing, all the things that are coming up. So interesting.
Yeah, and things are heating up and cooling down and heating up and healing and heating up. And so, this is a really good topic we're going to talk about is how are you responding when you read something on social media that charges you? You find yourself all riled up with people who agree with you or don't agree with you or say something that you think is absolutely idiotic or, there's just all kinds of responses that people are having and all kinds of things that people are posting. They're using social media in very interesting ways. Some are helpful and some are not. I was speaking the other day that on my feed, I don't see any of the triggering type posts. And it's because how I've trained Facebook what I like. Because did you know you can train Facebook?
I do, yeah.
So that's the way I deal with it. I don't have to respond to it because I'm not reading that, but I know there's a lot of stuff, and then people will send me things that are triggering, and oh my gosh, what do we do now?
Well, yes. And in my feed, of course, I've got all kinds of things because of dealing with relentlessly difficult, toxic people. So it really comes across there because they're already charged or they're already defensive or something's going on, and then you get something on top. And right now, of course, everybody is in a slightly, if not tragically, more elevated anxiety and stress situation. Even if you're staying at home and you think, oh, that's chill and cool, you may be underlying have feelings of anxiety and why can't I go out, and why do I have to do this, and why, why is this happening to me right now? And so that already is just a little fire that's waiting for something to touch it and it'll explode. And so I think it's really worth having a conversation because you can find those things very polarizing, and it's getting more and more polarizing. Like, I hate that. I love that. Not, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting to watch people's reaction be so severe. And I'm watching my own, like when I get, triggered, as we're saying here, is like, oh my gosh, why am I triggered? What is the reality here? What do I really want to have happen? I have to take an extra breath. I was listening to NPR the other day, and I heard them talking. I think it was the brain, uh,
Yeah.
the
The
brain show.
hidden brain.
The
The
Hidden
hidden
Brain,
brain.
excellent show about how, if we just train people to take an extra breath before they reacted or take an extra
Yeah.
second, that it would make such a big difference. So I've been trying that with myself. It's like, okay, and own it, own it. I'm upset about this. If we own our prejudices, if we own our anger and our anxiety, then we can do something about it. If we're too busy trying to say it's somebody else's deal that's causing this, then we'll never have any healing.
That's right. And I absolutely agree. And I do love that show too. Um, the thing is that we have to take charge of ourselves first. And one of the things that's happening is when we get triggered, somebody else just took charge of us for a second.
That's right.
Like, how dare you? Or, and so taking that breath and taking that moment to say, oops, come back in and be contained. What's going on in here? Not extending ourselves to what's going on out there, or how dare they, or who does that, or that's stupid. I mean, there's a lot to look at. There, you talked about idiots, and then there are COVID idiots, and there are all kinds of things that are going on, and it's polarizing. Like, if you honestly believe that the right thing to do is to wear a mask to protect everybody, and
Let's
then
do it.
people, and then you do what you do you. um, but if you're engaging in the people who want to say, why should I, and I don't have to, and all of that, is that really a fight you want to jump into? I mean, what's the point? I mean, you're not going to change anybody's mind about wearing a mask. So at the minimum, if you think that you ought to be wearing masks and everyone should, and I happen to be of that opinion, then posting a meme now and again that says, here are the reasons why people wear masks, that may be your contribution rather than jumping into the fray and saying, but you don't understand.
And everyone has their own understanding, and there's not like this right or wrong thing. It's like what you believe is what you believe, and if you start making other people wrong, you're not listening anymore. You stop listening. I am very curious when people say they're not wearing masks. I want to hear why and what their reasoning is. And and like we said so many times on this call, and you've had it on your wall, is people tell you who they are by their actions. So it's more information for me, and the more information we have, the more we can evaluate our own self. And if we're taking stock of ourself during this time, that's probably the most valuable thing we can do versus trying to just get out the frustration. Yes, I'm frustrated too. Am I going to let my frustration dictate my actions? No, I'm going to try and deal with my frustration so I can have a rational mind and choose my actions.
Mm-hmm. And choose what you respond to. Like start calibrating. Oh, that's just interesting, or oh, that's outrageous. I mean, start calibrating what's going on within you. Like I've had a great time. I made this little rule. If somebody says something that I find not just another opinion nicely expressed, but something outrageous and, in a high emotional state and all, I watch them, and if they do it twice, I either snooze them or unfollow them. Like, you go snooze, chill, see you in 30 days, right? But if it's somebody who's like on a campaign and they're getting more and more angry and in your face and all of that, I'm just enjoying losing people from my feed. I just, bye bye. You know, you don't have to have that in your life.
Yeah, I think when we're responding in public so extremely, it gives people a message of like, who is this person? There's there's more being revealed than you think is being revealed if you're using social media as your venting buddy and or your counselor. Like if I'm getting triggered, it's not a sign to me to go out and publicly rant. To me, if I'm getting triggered, it's a sign to call my therapist, right? And work through this trigger thing.
Yes, well, I watched something the other day, and it came across my feed, and I thought, oh, really? Right? Now, if people respond to that in some kind of triggered fashion, some high emotion fashion, they're going to forget that every single thing that's on social media is recorded.
Oh, there's that. There's
Like,
that.
okay, you had this huge outburst and you're making your point and you're justifiably angry or righteously justified or whatever you think you are at the moment, and you're saying all these things. Well, are you going to be happy with that when someone points it out next year? You have to be conscious of who you are at all times. And
On social
social
media.
media is everywhere.
Mhm.
And social media is one of those places where it's recorded. Maybe Uncle Will will say, I remember when you said that at the Thanksgiving dinner. But it's a whole different thing to have someone bring up your feed and say, you said that, you know? So be careful.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I could feel people's reaction to that being like, yeah, heck yeah, I don't care if they see that next year. And just in that kind of that's a triggered reaction. It's more of the ego talking versus the truth of the matter. So when I know that if I'm triggered, it's never a good time to go on social media unless I'm looking for love-based posts with flowers and quotes and inspiration, positive thinking, conscious thinking, people who are educating me about things that help me be a better person in the world. So why would we waste our time in anywhere else? Why do we do that?
Well, there are a lot of people who are isolated right now, and maybe they live alone. Maybe they're in a situation where they really don't have people to talk with or feel they don't. And so they're using this as their outlet. There's truly their social outlet. And so they're engaging at deep levels and forgetting that it's not like a private message. It is out there. And I'm not saying that don't have strong opinions, don't speak from your convictions. Just take what Laura was saying from the hidden brain, take that extra breath. In fact, take 3 or 5 and say, is this how I want to portray myself on social media? And if you find yourself in a situation where you're triggered, really good moment to say, I'm going to train myself to go to my journal, the one that I handwrite over in the other room, far
Step
away from the
away from the home
computer.
feed.
Yeah, like I'll just go and have a nice cup of tea and debrief that all to myself. And then I'll come back. Whew, now I'm chill. Now I got my brain back. I'll think about it. Because there's so much stuff out there. I mean, so much stuff. Like I went to Sprouts the other day, the food store, and I haven't been going to the food store much, but I have been watching the behavior at the food store, and I found out when to go when there are the fewest possible people. So I went, and it was the day after our governor here in California said we all have to wear masks in public, right? And said shopping, right? Like clearly said shopping. So I'm in there and I'm buying something. I look up and there's this woman and she's got her mask down around her throat. And I said, oh, would you mind putting your mask on? And she got nuts. I'm in HR. I know all the rules. I know what to do. You can't talk to me like that. You can't tell me what to do. And she was of that ilk of person who just speaks and speaks and speaks and speaks and speaks, so you never can respond. Right. And so I would open my mouth, speak, and she'd start again. And then I thought, don't think it's worth responding. I mean, the way that I asked her was not like, hey, you should have your mask on. I just said, some of us do better when everybody wears their mask. Would you mind putting your mask on? Because I happen to fall in that category. I have to be very careful. And it was a rant. And then, I mean, even though there's all these signs in the store, stay 2 shopping carts apart, wear your mask, do all of this. Then she's got the mask down here. And the next time I see her, and she's chatting with the fellow who's filling the shelves in the produce department. And they're having a big chat over the produce with no mask. She's got no mask on. And I'm thinking, whoa, this is a really interesting study because she's now declared that she doesn't have to do it because she knows everything because she's in HR. And then that she is beyond the rules, even though, of course, if she'd known the day before, if she were so up to date with it, she would have known that the rules in California had changed. But there was no telling. So when there's no telling, really good time to take a deep breath, let it out slowly as you walk away.
Yes, because you're not going to change somebody else. And even if they're harming you, you need to make a different decision to walk away to stay
Yeah.
protected, right?
Yeah, like I couldn't stay there if she wouldn't stop talking. I mean, she's spitting.
Yep.
Because she was angry.
It's very interesting times that we're in because nothing's changed with the culprit here, the virus, right? The virus is still out there, it's still infecting people, and people are still dying. But everybody else is stuck at home and tired of it. And that's the only thing that's changed. This thing is still here. So, but we're trying to find healthier ways to be living with this virus so we don't die from it, right? So, taking those precautions. And when somebody doesn't want to do that, it's hurtful. It's hurtful. Somebody asked me, well, I don't want to wear a mask because it's whatever their reason was. I need to listen to that again. And I said, I wear a mask because it's my way of showing you, my neighbor, my fellow human on this planet, that I care about you enough to protect you from me. You know, and
Yes, and
not that I need, not that I think I need protecting, but we don't know what we don't know, right?
well, that's the thing. The asymptomatic carrier, very, very important to recognize that's a thing. That's a thing. You can feel great and still go home and give your parents and your grandparents coronavirus. Very important. So it's a question of respect. Really, it is. And there's another piece. There's a lot of misinformation out there. This whole thing about wearing a mask will cause you to inhale carbon dioxide and it'll make you sick and all of that. Do you honestly think surgeons who are in surgery for 16 hours at a time are jeopardizing their health? Come on.
Day after
Think
day doing surgery, day after day in the
think
hospital.
about it. If you're using that as an excuse, stop.
Yeah.
Stop, right? Yes, don't go jogging in a mask. That's difficult. But I have a mask that has a vent in it. So it allows the carbon dioxide to come out. There are other solutions, right? When I go somewhere where there's people and I have my mask on that allows the carbon dioxide to come out, I put another mask over the vent so that you're not getting anything from me, but I certainly am not getting anything from you. But you have to think it through. Like, if you're going to go on Facebook and say it's unhealthy to wear a mask, are you saying that all of those health workers who are working so hard to keep you alive are doing unhealthy things? Come on, use your kidney. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting logic out there about the masks and staying home versus going out and feeling like it's just safe to do so. And yeah, it is, but it isn't. So we never
And
know.
there's a difference between safe and wise, you
Mm,
know?
mm.
Like, a friend and I had a picnic on Sunday and we went to a lake and we each took our blanket and we each sat on the outside of our blanket. So there were 6, 8 feet between us and we didn't wear a mask, but we're outdoors. And I thought, okay, now what do I need to be aware of here? We're eating, so obviously
You ate
can't.
your own food. You weren't sharing food.
No, we were eating our own food. We had our own utensils. We'd taken care of everything we could possibly think of. But then I'm looking around, and about 12 feet away, there is a family, and the family is gathering, like all the members of the family, till there's about 16 people over there. Not one of them had a mask on. And I thought, whoa, now they don't all live in the same house. They don't all go to the same grocery store. They don't do all of that. And yet they're feeling comfortable in their family unit to have that kind of interaction. And then you see people who are, obviously mother, father, and child on a blanket. That makes sense, all by themselves. Yeah, the permutations of gatherings at that lake were really interesting to look at. But when I came home, I really thought, I'm not sure I'm going to do that again.
Hmm.
I really don't think that I'm going to place myself in that situation again because there are too many variations and there are too many people who don't believe that it is necessary to be protected.
Yep, there are. And I think we have to acknowledge that and not, again, it's the differing opinions. How are you going to respond to it? You could try and do this, or you can just say, that's not my place. That's not my party, you know? That's not where I want to party. I'm not partying with the virus, so I'm staying home, or I'm going out walking by myself, or I'm walking with a friend. We're not going to sit down in a crowded, place. So yeah, it's making wise choices, knowing what's true for you, that, you have a certain health condition, or you have a certain health status you want to maintain. Like me, I want to maintain a certain health that I have people I'm responsible for. I like to say, not just me, but my husband's coworkers, because if I get it, they're probably going to get it too. So, and then my clients, it's like, no, I'm sorry, I have too many people counting on me. My frustration is not worth jeopardizing all myself and others for. In
Mhm.
fact, there are certain ways we can deal with our frustration in healthy ways, whether it's talk to somebody or go find some safe way to get out and be creative and play in freedom. And it's going to look different. We're in a different world. No matter what, if you go to a restaurant, if you go to whatever, there's still different protocols. It's going to look different anyway. So why don't we just start figuring it out instead of being like trying to just revert back to what was. That's where we want to go, but you know what? There's a new reality out here. We have to stop being in denial. We have to accept it. And then if we get triggered, know how to respond, like you're saying. Do we engage with it, or do we just take care of ourselves? And
Yeah,
especially
I think that that's exactly the space where we're in. And to whom are you giving your energy?
Hmm.
If you're on social media and there's somebody who's saying something that you feel is outrageous, it's okay to just take a breath and go, that seems outrageous to me, and then move on. It doesn't call forth a response by any necessity.
Right.
You can just calibrate it and say, and move on. But because we're in this heightened thing, like one of the things that happens in our bodies that, you and I have talked about before, is if you think about it on a scale of 1 to 10, our pulse rate, our heart rate, and going up and what that does in our body. Well, what the research shows us is if we get engaged and we get anxious and we get up about 3.5 or 4, um, physiological changes happen and we're not thinking as clearly. So
Mhm.
if we allow ourselves to get into that heightened state, we're not thinking clearly. And when you're not thinking clearly, you'll make the best speech you'll ever regret. And don't have that happening on social media, right?
Yes, especially when you're in that, what do they call it, limbic brain, the fight or flight brain, that's when
Yeah.
what gets triggered. It's like, oh my gosh, somebody said something that is threatening to me in some way. You go into this very narrow, blood flow all goes back here to the lower brain, not up here where we're consciously thinking, making those choices and thinking logically as much. I mean, there's obviously blood flowing there, but a surge comes back here and we're like,
Well, it also goes down to protect your heart and lungs. So your hands and feet get cold. And so it's just saying, okay, survival is the most important thing. So it's taking all that blood to say, okay, keep that heart and lungs going. I want to survive. And at that moment, like there's limited stuff going on in the kidney, and you might think you're eloquent. You really might think you're eloquent and articulate. And then you're relaxed and chill and you go back and somebody has screamed at you and you go, oh, did I really say that?
it's amazing. I'll journal or I'll write on a non publishable place on my computer. All my
Notepad.
little, yeah, notepad, triggering all my thoughts here that I would love to just scream out at somebody. And I'll walk away from it and I'll come back either the next day or 2 hours later and I'll be like, rewriting the whole thing. Like
So
because
glad that,
I have my brain back and I have
yeah.
a sense of peace and calm around the things. Everything's going to be okay, people. Things are going to be okay. Let's be nice to each other. Let's default to kindness and understanding and openness. Why? Just take a breath.
Or default, here's an idea, default to facts. This woman wrote a big tirade about these people who are calling the police on people of different races and everything. And then she made the leap to how we have all these horrible people who have cluster B personality disorders, and they, it's a terrible world, and they're all here, and it's escalating, and these are the people that do this. And I thought, okay, that's my field. I need to say something. So I just said racists are not all have cluster B difficulties, right? Like, just a fact. Now, what's interesting is when you look at that feed, there are no likes, there are no loves, nothing next to my comment. But all the triggering, polarizing, justifying comments are like loved and hugged and all that kind of thing. And I thought, okay, all I can contribute here is facts, right? To just say, actually, that's not so. And if you can do something with it, great. If you can't do something with it, all right, you're too far into emotion right now. But at least I felt like I could at least put a fact there.
Yeah, we've been trained to make leaps of like, because this is so, this must be so. And the advertising that's going on now is doing a lot of that, and it's training people in that way of thinking. And it's misleading, and it's not fact-based, it's just assumptive and not necessarily truthful. So
Yeah, well,
it's
we're
frustrating for
upset.
people who know, that those the other people are believing those leaps are trying to change the way we live, but putting us in more danger. It's kind of frustrating.
Yeah, it is frustrating. And I think we all do well to acknowledge that if we just sit with ourselves for a little minute, that it all feels unfair. It just feels unfair. Like, I was doing life, this was happening in my business, my kids were going to graduate, I was planning to go on this trip, and all of this stuff, basically it comes down to, this seems so unfair. Like, why did my life get shifted? Why did certain things get cut off? Why did all these things go? If you could get in touch with unfair and say, all right, unfair is a feeling, and it can be based in fact. And if I look at the facts are, I can't do anything about this virus appearing. I can't do anything about how the world decides to keep us safe. The things I can do something about are the things within myself. So if I can tap into, yeah, it feels unfair, then I can have a little conversation with myself and say, yeah, everybody is feeling it's unfair. There is a level of unfairness. So then we're all operating at a little bit higher level of anxiety. And what do I want to do? What do I want to have in charge of my life, of my system, of my response when I read something? And that's the personal responsibility that we can take. And, our personal power lies in the ability to monitor our thoughts, our feelings, our needs, our wants, and how we express it. So we have to get back in touch with that, I think, to feel, okay, I'm in charge of me, and I'm in charge of where I want to let my energy go flying off. And I was saying to a client the other day who was really quite enraged about something well beyond and much more important than the coronavirus. And I said, he said, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And I said, oh, I know what to do. You need really large body activities. You need to go and chop wood, because he's not a runner. So chop wood or beat something up, beat the bed with something, do something that has huge muscle activity until you get tired.
Mhm.
And he went off and did that. And he said, oh, that was so good. Well, take charge of your body. If your body is pent up with feelings and restraint and everything, let it loose somewhere safe. Go for a run, do a bicycle thing, get a punching bag, beat the bed with I don't know, some wooden spoon. Do something that
Don't hurt
allows.
yourself. Don't hurt anybody else. The bed is
Right.
fair game, but not anybody else in the bed.
Yeah. So, allow yourself to recognize, okay, my muscles are tense. I can do something about that. My jaw is tense. I am intensely gazing at this computer screen and I'm getting more and more annoyed. Okay, let me take charge of me. I think each one of us will find that's a full-time job.
It is a full-time job, and we're trying to ignore it sometimes because it's not fun. It's like not fun to feel unfair. So we want to get it out and we want to let people know it's unfair. We all know it's unfair. And it's about really feeling that and saying, okay, well, then what is there that I can do? And a lot of times there's great healing that can come about this. I've seen many people transform right in front of my eyes that when I've had these conversation with them, very honest conversations, even in business, even when I'm helping them with their marketing, they're going through their own personal thing about it. And just by me listening and asking, pointed questions, they've like hugely opened up and saw something for themselves that took them in a different place. They didn't have to focus in and waste their time and energy just responding, reacting to something that triggered them.
Right? But the key to all that we're talking about is personal responsibility. And the question that when people say to me, well, what should I do about this? I always ask the first question, well, who are you?
Mm.
Right? Like if you're living by your values, you're living by what you think is important and how you want to live your life, what would you do? Who are you? And if
The
you're
big
not a
10,000
person,
foot view, not the like right now, I'm someone who's upset about this, right?
yeah, generally, who are you? And are you actually living from what you say you value or how you feel that other people should behave? Are you behaving that way? And if you take that kind of mirror view, as opposed to ain't it awful and the world is doing me wrong, you can have a wonderful time of self inquiry and become more self directed. And being self directed is empowering. And that's a really important thing for us to understand, that if I decide I will be the author of my response to things, I will notice that I'm getting triggered. I will notice that I have a charge around this, and then I will decide how I would like to respond, as opposed to bam, I'm responding and my fingers are doing the walking, and then oh, I'm stuck with that. I think you could find a great deal of growth and feel so much more powerful, feel clearer, use this time for good. And I don't mean to be Pollyanna about it, but you're going to use your energy one way or the other, and you're the deciding factor. How are you going to use your energy to rail against what you don't like, or are you going to lift up what you do?
And it's interesting when somebody gets triggered and they're snapping back at you, right? And then that triggers myself. And I had that happen in real life at the store with the cashier. And I didn't realize I triggered her with something I said. And my best response was just to be quiet because what I was thinking at that moment is, well, maybe I need to see where I wanted to evaluate myself, number one. And number two, I wanted to, if I said something, it would have distracted her from her. Meaning that if I said nothing, the last thing she heard was herself. And maybe
Mm-hmm.
she'll take that in as, oh, like, oh, I said this, like maybe she won't feel like as a customer service person at a cashier, you probably shouldn't be saying things in that tone, like maybe she'll actually hear it because that's the last thing in her brain versus me. And maybe my face may have also helped with that, which was like, like not giving her like you're right and maybe but still taking responsibility for maybe I had a part in it. So it's very, very good time for us right now for personal growth. It's such a huge opportunity when we're in these frustrating situations. This is when the gold happens. This is where you get your power and you learn about it. And so I'd like to invite everybody to step into that. Feel your feelings. What is your responsibility? Take a breath and see how we can bring out the best of ourselves as we muddle through our tough time.
Yeah, and maybe we won't be quite so muddled if we spend some time with ourselves. If we're responding to everything that's outside ourselves, that there's only so much time and energy. So how much time are you spending giving it to the world as compared to reflecting on yourself? Maybe that balance needs to be a little more finely tuned.
Give to yourself. Be good to yourself. It'll help with those responses, being able to decipher what's worth responding to, what's worth, what is triggering you. It'll allow you to take that extra breath. So take good care of yourself, nurture yourself, be safe in that way, and give yourself that extra space in a safe place. That's my suggestion here today.
Yeah, I think it's a good one. It it's the only power that you have is to take charge of yourself.
Very.
And if that's influential in the world, great. But at least you feel good about you and you've calibrated your choices and your responses and you're happy with them. You're not backtracking or wishing you hadn't said something or cogitating on, oh, I wonder how that's going to land. That's where you have power. And it's not power over anyone, it's just empowered communication, and that can take place within yourself or among other people. You watch somebody get triggered, they'll say and do things. Sometimes they won't stop, like you'll try to talk them down, you'll try to be calm and say something, and they're still going to spin. And then eventually, as you say, they have the last word, and then eventually they come back and say, oh, I really spun out of control. Okay, I get it. You're right. You did. And you see it and you're not happy with it. Well, maybe that'll help you next time realize what triggers you. And that's the whole point of this conversation we're having now is take charge of what triggers you. And if it's on social media, then maybe you need
Step
to
away.
feed less at the social media trough.
Step away from the news, step away from the feed, take some time for yourself, be good to yourself. This is like a perfect opportunity to do that and then add positive energy back into the system. And first, your own system. We got
Yeah,
this. We're here
yeah.
for you if you need that too. Rhoberta and I both support people in bringing that positive energy back into your lives, bringing a new perspective. Thank you for the hearts and the love, by the way. Thanks, John. And for if you can bring more positive to your family, if you can bring more positive to your neighbor, if you can bring more positivity into yourself, oh, might we have a better world? Maybe.
Yeah, and positivity is great, but at least bring balance, at least bring neutrality. If you can't do positivity yet, bring neutrality. Like that could be, phrases like you could be right
Oh,
can
great one.
really let something just go. And, you may be thinking that on some planet that could be right. But the fact is that when you suggest that of all the possibilities that could be right, the other person can de-escalate. And it's just an opportunity to say, well, I'll have to think about that. You could be right. Okay. So understand the dynamics that you're setting up, understand what your part is in it, and whether you're giving your energy to things that really don't need it. And beyond that, if you give your energy to things that really don't need it and you do it from a heightened state of emotionality, you may not be really happy with that after a little while. So save yourself the energy of backtracking and put it up front and take those extra couple breaths and say, do I really want to engage here? Or is there something else I could do with my energy that would be more productive?
Great conversation. Please feel free to rewatch the whole thing if you haven't, if you're just joining us. We are here twice a month talking about things that are sometimes difficult to talk about, the elephants in the room, about how to handle difficult situations, how to handle the energies that come up within and the energies that come from, other people, in particular, people that are very difficult to deal with. I love to help people express themselves in their business. I know you, Roberta, love to help people be very much more self-expressed in their personal lives. And we both do that in our different ways. So we're here for you, is the bottom line.
We are indeed, and this is a difficult time. And you may need to reach out and have some support to help you figure things out when you're in a little bit of anxiety. And that's what Laura means when she says we're here for you. Just go to our websites, find out what's there. I mean, I have 2 podcast episodes a week. Maybe there's something there that is exactly what you need to just listen to. Or you go to my YouTube channel for relationship help. Maybe there's something there that, ah,
Good
you
stuff.
know, and so it's not, that you may need to talk to us personally at this moment, or maybe you're ready to, but maybe we have a resource for you that you can find, and you will find some peace or an answer. And that's what we're inviting you to do.
So we'll be back with you in a couple weeks. Take good care of you, and mind mind your feelings. Tap into that, and let us know how things go. Bye for now.
Bye bye.